What's going on, everyone? It is the Cotterill College Corner this morning at Blue Collar Media Group. I'm your host of the show, Kenneth Cotterill, joined here today by some BCMG guys. We're going to be breaking down everything when it comes to college basketball today on basically College Basketball Saturday. We've got a ton of conference tournaments wrapping up, some semifinals, huge semifinals happening, especially in the Big Ten. And then bracket breakdown is going to be tomorrow. So as I said, I'm your host of the show, Kenneth Cotterill. Joined here today, firstly, he is the co-host of the Frostbite podcast. That's Jet Folk. Jet, how you doing this morning?
Good, man. Doing good. Looking forward to some great games. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Definitely. There's so many on this slate today. I don't know which ones I'm going to watch sometimes because there's 2 or 3 going at the same time that are real good. Then we've got the host of Call Your Shot. That is Josh Elliott. Josh, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Like you said, lot of games today. My heart wants to just place a bet on every single game, but my wallet would not agree with that. But I mean, we're gonna pick some winners, and I'm excited to be on for you.
Definitely. Don't bet every single game today. There's a lot.
Yeah, it is pretty fun. It is pretty fun when you do.
Yeah, I think I just had Vic change my Bodog and Sports Interact passwords for the next couple days just to make sure that we don't get our home repossessed. So then we also have co-host of the Puckleheads podcast, and that's Just Paul. How you doing?
What's going on, boys? Little NCAA can't beat this week right coming up, so let's get it going.
Definitely. So today's episode is sponsored by Statement Games. Check them out at statementgames.com. It's a free fantasy game to play. Basically, you make 10 picks on a particular game, rank them 10 through 1, prop bet picks. If you get your number 10 pick right, you get 10 points. And it's contests of 8 to 12 people. You have a chance to win some tokens, which can then go towards gift cards such as Apple, NFL Shop, Under Armour. There's a whole bunch of them on there. Be sure to go check them out at statementgames.com. Mark Salino over there is a phenomenal partner with us, and you definitely want to check out that game. But as we said, there's a lot of games happening, but there has been some games that have been affected by COVID over the last couple of days. We've had Duke had their game canceled a couple days ago, and then we had Kansas had their game canceled, as did Virginia. So that allowed Texas and Georgia Tech to advance. Jet, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on COVID so far affecting these conference games?
Well, the toughest part, obviously, is Duke probably is not going to be in the tournament because of it. That's a team that was just starting to actually get hot at the right time and could have made a bit of a run to potentially win the ACC tournament and get that auto bid. Outside of that, these other teams, it probably could affect seeding in certain manners. But there's no doubt that COVID is very much still our enemy, and teams need to be ready for anything.
I think it definitely affects seeding. I look at a team like Virginia, who heading into conference play, Andy Katz had them as a 5 seed. I think they would have beaten Georgia Tech yesterday, and then they would have had a chance today against Florida State. You pick up a win against a team like that, you might be moving up to being a 3 or a 4 seed come tournament time. Now they're probably going to remain around that 5 spot. Paul, I'll go to you next. So are you concerned about COVID affecting this tournament at all?
Yeah, for sure. You have to be, I think, at this point. I mean, we're this late in the year and we're still getting positive cases. We're still getting, shutdowns at this point. I don't really know. I guess I saw where everybody's going to be there. Most of the at-large and everything are going to be there today or tomorrow. They're going to arrive in Indianapolis. Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
So, at least we have that protocol going already. But like this Virginia one here, I mean, that's really tight, isn't it? The turnaround, it's going to be like right on the 7 days for them to be in or out. So yeah, definitely I'm concerned about it. I don't think we can't be.
Yeah, I think honestly you have to be a little bit concerned about picking your bracket. As far as I know, the NCAA has said that Kansas and Virginia are going to be a go, but if you just had a positive test yesterday, I don't know how they're going to pass these protocols heading in and actually be able to play these games. So you almost have to be weary of taking a team like that just in case something happens in regards to them. Josh, what do you think? Is this tournament going to be affected pretty greatly by this?
I don't know if it's going to be affected like a ton or what. I just want to make note though, these conference games here, these tournaments here, if a COVID test is the reason why you're not getting in, it's actually not. That's not the reason why you didn't get in. It's because you didn't win games down the road, middle of the season in January. So to blame it on a COVID test, I can't agree with that. But it sounds like they're just going to go right ahead. I think they're just going to go full steam ahead. Anybody that has a COVID positive test on their team, your team's done. Move along. Whoever's next behind them, or not behind them, but you move on. The team that you're playing that moves on. But how many we're going to get, I don't know. How many COVID tests is it going to take for the NCAA tournament to consider shutting it down completely? That I think has to be a lot. I don't think that will happen. Teams are being smart on who they bring in for personnel, who's traveling, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it sounds like I just read it. They're full steam ahead. They don't care if a COVID test happens, your team's out. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think a lot of bracket people are going to be upset, especially if you get one of these teams like a Gonzaga, Baylor that gets eliminated due to COVID. But ultimately, I mean, it's just the times that we're living in. The NCAA is probably not going to cancel it. Josh, I do agree with you on COVID is not the reason why your team is out. I mean, ultimately, there's some programs who are affected more than others this year. Some had to cancel a lot of games due to other teams having COVID, not even necessarily theirs. But, I mean, you had a chance to win games. Like if you're as a Duke fan, you had a chance to beat UNC twice. You didn't do it. You had a chance to beat Georgia Tech. You didn't. You had a chance to beat Louisville. You didn't. Yes. So if you win even half those games, doesn't matter.
Now you're looking at maybe a bottom seed team, right?
Yep, and then you still have a shot of getting in. So I feel bad for the players. I don't feel it necessarily as bad for the programs because, I mean, you had a down year. Everyone knew it. Duke wasn't going anywhere, even if they got into the tournament. But it is a shame for those players, especially if you're a senior on a team. I feel especially bad for you.
Question. I know they did it with or for college football, but are players getting another year eligibility next year?
That I'm not 100% sure of.
And what about like NIT, Kenny? Are we having an NIT or no?
I don't even know if they're going to plow ahead with the NIT. There's really no point of having an NIT.
No, there isn't. But when they said their season was over, I just didn't know they were not going to I didn't know if we were having an NIT. You know what I mean?
I haven't heard anything about the NIT. Okay. Even if they played in the NIT, they'd probably get first round bounced anyways.
Okay. Well, I mean, sometimes, you can use that to, get the guys a little bit more, games or whatnot,
Yeah, because there's a lot of teams like Kentucky that aren't going to get in, teams like Duke that aren't going to get in. They've got a couple freshmen maybe between the two teams who are just going to go straight to the NBA and probably get drafted. But a lot of these guys will be returning given the years that they had. So it'll be interesting to see with college basketball next year what ends up happening there. But we're going to head straight into talking about conference slate preview. Paul, who's it sponsored by?
Living My Best Cigar Life. You can check them out at livingmybestcigarlife.com. Use the code MyBestCigarLife in all caps. You get $10 off your first order. They got everything: cigars, humidors, accessories, anything you can imagine there. Check them out. They're a great sponsor. Opened up their first physical location in Philadelphia last month, and check them out.
All right, so let's get right into things, starting with the ACC today. They've got Florida State and Georgia Tech in the final, as we talked about earlier. No Virginia due to that COVID test, so Georgia Tech just gets the bye in that game. Jet, who do you like in this matchup, and what do you think it's going to ultimately boil down to?
So in this game, I like Florida State. I know that within the season series they split, and Georgia Tech's on a hell of a run right now. They've won 7 straight. But I think that Florida State does a really good job of making teams play their style of basketball. They're able to push the pace at times, and they can really rush the glass and take advantage of that opportunity to demoralize the offense and defense of Georgia Tech. So Florida State for me.
Paul, what about you?
I'm right there with Jet. But Georgia Tech is one of those teams right now where it's like that Cinderella. It could happen, and Florida State does piss around a lot with They go through stretches on offense where they can't really find it. We saw it last night in that North Carolina game. I mean, the first 10 minutes of that game was absolutely atrocious, and then there were parts of the second half that were atrocious. But I think at the end of the day, just that they're too long and too physical for Georgia Tech. I think that, Florida State takes care of business, but it's close. It's going to be a close game. I think Georgia Tech's going to be right there.
Yeah, I agree on the close game. The line on that one so far is -4.5. I don't know if I'd be taking the over on that. I think it's going to come down to final possessions. Josh, what about you? Florida State or Georgia Tech for you?
Yeah, I don't really trust Georgia Tech enough to take them right now. That being said, though, I think Florida's kind of hasn't really been playing all that well down the stretch here their last couple of games. But Georgia Tech, I think, is just lucky to be there right now because of what's happened. But yeah, I think Florida State, I think they kind of have to turn it on here right now because they've just been off. They just haven't really been well. Lost by 10 against Notre Dame. They just beat North Carolina. I think this is a game where they need to kind of get going in order to, take that next step into the tournament. So,
yeah, I mean, I know that Georgia Tech's coming in on the big win streak, but let's also be clear that in the ACC tournament, the only team that they've played is Miami, a bad Miami team, and they only beat them by 4. So yeah. I 100% agree on they got lucky not getting Virginia because I thought Virginia was actually going to run them off the floor. When I look at this game, I think it ultimately comes down to rebounding. Georgia Tech is 319th in the country in rebounding. They only get 28 per game to Florida State's 34. So, I mean, if Florida State is killing them on the glass, then I think they're going to be in trouble in this one. I like Florida State to win the conference. I think they're the best team. I'm a huge fan of Leonard Hamilton. Shout out to him for getting paid because he deserves it for making Florida State a true power in the ACC. It's no longer just Duke and Syracuse and UNC and Virginia. FSU is right there now, and I think Florida State's just going to take it today and roll into the NCAA tournament. This is not a team that you want to see in the tournament either because they roll 7, 8, 9 guys deep, and it's tough to score against them at times. So I'm taking Florida State there. Then we'll move over. We'll talk about the Big 12 final. Oklahoma State taking on Texas. Oklahoma State knocked off Baylor yesterday in a very big upset. No doubt about it. When you're +9 heading into the game and you beat them by 9, I mean, you just flat out beat the brakes off of them. When I look at Texas, they didn't get Kansas yesterday due to a COVID test. For me personally, I'm going horns up today. Shout out to Davis on that one. I just think Texas, I'm a huge fan of this team. I really like their trio that they have there. And then Greg Brown was their freshman that they brought in. He was number 9 in the country as far as freshman heading into the year. So I think if he plays well in this game, then it could be a huge difference maker for them. That being said, Oklahoma State, they've won 8 straight. Or they won by 8, back in February against this team. Cade in that game was only 5 of 22, and they still beat Texas. So, I mean, if Cade plays well, then they could definitely be in trouble. But I'm rolling with Texas because I hope Oklahoma State loses. Jet, who are you rolling with?
So this is a very interesting game because it's another one where the series got split in the season. They're both on win streaks coming in. And honestly, you look down the statistical categories and it's pretty well split right down the board. In that instance, though, I do think that Texas might be the better overall team. I think I'm going to go with the team with the better player. I'm going to trust that they're going to play through Cade and he's going to take them to the promised land today.
Yeah, what Oklahoma State has to do well today, which they haven't done all year, is take care of the basketball. They average 16 turnovers per game, which is in the bottom 5% in the country. So that's something to be aware of. Josh, I'll go to you next. Who you taking, Oklahoma State or Texas?
This is the biggest fucking toss-up game for me. Legit, I could flip a coin, and I think I would be able to get my answer there. Oklahoma State, obviously been playing very well. They've won, I believe, 8 of their last 9. They're also 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So they've against the spread, they're 7 out of 8. I want to go horns up today, but I know how. I mean, I'm going horns up today. Fuck Oklahoma State.
And with that, we just got a comment from Ernest Sale the 2 saying hook 'em. So I believe he's rolling with Texas as well. Paul, who you rolling with for this one?
Do the Matthew McConaughey gift telling his bench to get up. Hey, let's go. Let's go.
No, I mean, you mentioned about Oklahoma State turning the ball over. Texas turns it over too. They're just as bad at turning it over as Oklahoma State is. That Avery kid for Oklahoma State really impressed me the other day against WVU. You know, having him as like a second option kind of to Cade has really helped them out. I don't really know what to make of Texas. I've seen him twice against WVU, and both times it's been these teams are so mirror image of each other. I'm just going to go with the best player, and I'm going to go with Cade and say Oklahoma State wins today.
Oh, it really disappointed me that you had to roll with Oklahoma State there.
I can't go. It'll always be horns down up here in WVU land. It will always be horns down.
That's fair for sure.
You will never see me with the horns up. So
ultimately, it's a split because 2-2 here, and then we've got Ernest taking. Ernest takes Texas, and Davis takes Oklahoma State. So I think Josh is right. It is a true toss-up this game. It's going to be a very close game. Ultimately, I just hope that Texas wins. So we'll move on now.
Shaka Smart could be the difference.
Yeah, they do have the better coach, I think.
Yeah, he could be the difference. He could be the difference.
So we'll move over. We're going to be talking some Big Ten action now. Actually, Michigan and Ohio State. I mean, one of the most storied rivalries, I think, in college sports. Truly, these programs hate each other. Doesn't matter if it's on the football field or the basketball court. Even though Ohio State's been beating the brakes off them on the football field, Michigan's having one hell of a year, and this is going to be a very good game. Michigan is favored by 6 in this game, but I do think that this spells upset for me. Michigan did have a player get injured yesterday, a guy who's very important to this program. So I'm a little bit concerned there as far as Isaiah Livers being out with a foot injury. But I mean, they still have Hunter Dickinson. They've got a ton of guys that they roll with. Juwan Howard getting tossed was phenomenal the other day. I'm just a huge fan of Juwan Howard. To me, he's the national coach of the year. I know that Mark Few's undefeated, but no one saw Michigan being where they're at this year. And I think that's just a testament to how great of a basketball mind he is. So I'm rolling with Ohio State today. They just snuck it out against Purdue. The last time these teams played, it was 92-87. So high-powered offenses going at it today. I think this is a must-watch game in the early window. Jet, who you rolling with?
So I took a deep look into that first Michigan and OSU game, and then I kind of tracked how their seasons went post those games. And so what I noticed is a trend of OSU kind of continued their path of really focusing offense, and Michigan made a shift more towards a defensive mindset. They've become very cohesive on the defensive end, and I think that improvement might be able to help them get over the hump against OSU today. I think that OSU is going to be facing different looks than they're expecting from Michigan, and that's why I like Michigan today, because seems like no matter who they plug into the lineup, everybody's locked in and tuned in regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it, the football and basketball comparison. I mean, Michigan's probably going to want this game badly because this rivalry has been pretty one-sided over the last little while. And so I think that there's going to be that little bit of an edge of they really want to knock OSU out of this tournament. Josh, who you rolling with out of Michigan and Ohio State? First
he's
mute.
muted. He's muted.
First mute.
That's like the first time in I think like a year. I'm rolling with Michigan today. I honestly, since they've came back from their big COVID break, they started out really good, like really hot, looked like one of the best teams in the country, and then they kind of dipped down a bit. But I think that's been purposely. I think they slipped down into the weeds a little bit. They're not showing everybody what they have. I don't think they came out guns blazing afterwards. And now I think this is the time where they're going to come up and absolutely destroy teams. And Ohio State's going to be,
victim number one.
Victim number one here to start their next couple of weeks. So I think Michigan wins big here.
Paul, who you rolling with in this one?
So I was like on the fence with it. And then I watched Ohio State yesterday, and they had absolutely no answer for Purdue inside at all. None. I mean, Purdue could have went in there every single time and came away with 2. And I just feel like Michigan, if one thing Juwan Howard will do is he'll find what you can't do, and he'll hammer it. I look for them to go inside at the Buckeyes today. I look for them to take care of Ohio State today. And I mean, if this is if you're really trying to win a sheet this year, you can't pick Gonzaga or Baylor. Everybody's going to pick Gonzaga or Baylor. So you got to start looking for that other team. And Michigan is one of those other teams if you want to win a sheet. If you want to win an office pool of 200 some sheets, you better pick somebody other than Gonzaga and Baylor. Just putting it out there. And Michigan is one of those teams that you need to keep on your radar. And you need to watch this game today, and you need to watch the championship game if they get there. So,
no, I love that point. I mean, I'm pretty sure 90% of brackets are going to be Baylor or Gonzaga, or you'll have a few Michigans here and there, but you got to start looking at some of these other teams, like whether it's teams in the other semifinal that we'll be talking about in a second here, or some of these other teams like a Florida State or an Oklahoma State or Texas or whoever it is. I mean, you got to go against the grain. 9 times out of 10, it's not the best team in college basketball that ultimately ends up winning the tournament. It's a one and done, and teams lose all the time. So
I'll say this much: for any pool that's allowing me to have 2 draws, I'm having one with Gonzaga and then another where I'm just figuring something else out.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, the nice part about this year is that because Duke's out, I don't have to have that stupid Duke bracket. So, I mean, it gives me the option to throw out a Gonzaga or a Baylor and then see what happens.
Yeah.
When I look at the other Big Ten semifinal, we've got Illinois and Iowa. Illinois just beat the brakes off of the team that they played yesterday. It really was not close the entire game. Overall, I mean, I'm just impressed by this team as a whole. Ao and Kofi Cockburn, I mean, they're just a great 1-2 punch that they have there. I mean, they beat Rutgers 90-68. And Rutgers isn't a bad basketball team, so to beat them that badly in a tournament game, I think is a testament to them. They've really turned it on over the last little while. At the start of the year, Illinois was right there in the top 10, and then they kind of cooled off for a bit, and people started to question them. And then they slapped Michigan a couple weeks ago, and then everyone's like, oh, geez, and that was without their best player too. So I think it's a testament to them. Then you look at Iowa. Luka Garza, he's player of the year. If you try and tell me that Kate is, you're just flat out wrong, or you're Davis. Overall, Luka Garza he's a walking 25-10 guy. He's incredibly impressive. He has Wieskamp back now, which is huge for them. There was a little bit of uncertainty there. I'm going to roll with Illinois today just because I think they're peaking at the right time. I don't know if Garza struggles, I mean, this is going to be a blowout. So you really have to keep an eye on his matchup there. Paul, I'll start with you. Do you like Illinois or Iowa?
I'm right with you, Kenny. I feel like Garza has to go 30-10 today to keep them to give them a chance to win this game. And I don't know. I just think Illinois they'll come up with something to where they'll keep him in check, and they're just too much at the other positions for Iowa. So give me Illinois today.
Josh, who you rolling with?
I want to say, muted myself there. I want to say Iowa. I like their team. I like Luka, but Illinois is just the way that they've been playing right now has just been so good that it's just tough to bet against them, and especially against a team Iowa who I think has such an up and down season. I like Illinois here to beat Iowa. So,
I mean, both of them are rolling too, coming in. Illinois has won 5 straight, Iowa's won 4 straight. These are 2 teams that are playing well at the right time, and ultimately they're just in the Big Ten conference, so they run in buzzsaws in each other. Really, Jet, who have you got in this one?
So I think Iowa is a team that people need to really pay attention to where they end up in the bracket, because if they get the matchups that they need, they could find themselves in the Final Four very easily. However, if they somehow find themselves on the side of the bracket that has Illinois, they will find themselves eliminated because Kofi Coburn can shut down Luka Garza, and Kofi Coburn does not have to be a part of the offense. Ayo Dosunmu controls that game easily. He's never worried. He's very patient. He's probably one of the most mature players in the league, and I think that's why Illinois wins today and could be a real problem in the tournament.
It was a guy, I think, when we start getting into NBA draft coverage that a lot of teams are going to want to be picking because of that poise, and it's something that at the next level, some guys have to learn, and the fact that he already knows it this early on in his career, I think is just a testament to how good he could be down the line. Either way, I mean, you got to be watching this game today as well. It's number 5 versus number 3. It tips off at 2:25 Central Standard Time, so keep an eye out for that one. The Big East, I mean, we've kind of been let down a little bit over the last little bit here, mostly due to injuries. I mean, Villanova lost 2 of their best players due to injuries, and so they ultimately fell early in the Big East tournament. That being said, the story of Georgetown and Patrick Ewing going back to coach that team, I think, is phenomenal. I think he's just going to bring back Georgetown to being a college basketball power because he played there. He won a national title there, as far as I know. Overall, he's one of the greatest college players of all time as well. So I think I like seeing guys like him, guys like Juwan Howard going back to Michigan. I like these programs bringing back guys who were a part of their golden ages and trying to restore that. They're going to take on Creighton today. Creighton's had an up and down year. They ultimately won against St. John's, and then they won yesterday as well to be in this game. I'm rolling with Creighton as much as I love the Georgetown story. But that being said, Creighton's going to get in regardless, whereas Georgetown has to win today. Like that, if they don't win, they're not getting into the NCAA tournament. So that could definitely play a factor in today's matchup. Jet, who you rolling with?
So this is a very fun one because they did actually split the season. And if you look at the last probably 7-8 games, Georgetown's beaten everybody except UConn has their number. Everyone else they're beating. The thing about Creighton, though, is they will bury a team if they're inefficient, and that's kind of been the downfall of Georgetown is sometimes they'll have spurts of inefficient shooting, and you can't do that against Creighton because they are efficient. They will just keep scoring while you're not scoring. So that's why I got to go Creighton here.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the team's field goal percentage numbers alone, you got 48% for Creighton, 42% for Georgetown. So that could obviously be a big factor. Josh, who you like out of the Hoyas and the Blue Jays?
I like Georgetown for 2 reasons. One, like you said, Creighton's already in. They don't necessarily need a win. Georgetown does. 2, Patrick Ewing was not allowed into the stadium the other day, and he's mad. He is absolutely mad. So he's going to have his team rolling here and going to be beating Creighton. Let's have a day.
They done forgot who I am.
They forgot who he was.
Absolutely.
You know, I will say this much before I go to Paul. When I first looked and that line's at -8.5 for Creighton, I'm hammering that Georgetown line today.
Yep.
Like I might honestly, I know I said I wouldn't bet. I might honestly bet on Georgetown to just win money line because the payout would be so big and they need it more. So
absolutely,
that's definitely one to keep an eye on. Paul, who are you rolling with?
I would never bet it, you know what I mean? But like I'm going with Georgetown because I like the story. It's March. It's time to start, getting these Cinderellas. We always have these teams that, steal a bid from somebody. And this would be a good one a good story to steal the bid. Like, you got the whole Patrick Ewing thing, you got Georgetown back in it, you could get them in one of those first 4 games and, pub up the whole thing. And Creighton's been, they've had some controversy going on there too. It's like a good little, contrast to each other here for Georgetown to win this game. So I give me the Hoyas today. I'll take them. They're either going to win this game or Creighton's just going to blow them out. It's not going to be no down to the wire type thing. They're either going to win or Creighton's going to win by 30.
Yeah. If I had to make a prediction of how this game's going to go, I think Creighton's going to jump out to a big lead, and then Georgetown's just going to wear them down over the next little bit. And I don't know. I hope that Creighton wins just because I picked them, but from a betting perspective, plus 8.5, I think you got to take that today in a game that's a must win for them. So then we move over to the Pac-12. I mean, what a weird conference this has been. When I looked at the quarterfinals, I thought, oh, okay, so we're going to be looking at like Oregon, UCLA, USC, and Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Well, then UCLA falls in overtime. It's like, well, the other three teams got through. Well, now Oregon's got to bye to the final. Nope, they lost to Oregon State last night. So Oregon State's making a bit of a Cinderella run there. And they beat Oregon by 11, which was so impressive. And then last night, you also saw Colorado and USC, very tight matchup between probably the two best teams in the Pac-12 this year. And Colorado ultimately edges them out. So that gives us the final of Oregon State versus Colorado. Colorado is -9. I think the line started at -8, so it is trending in that direction. Who do you guys like in this one? Jed, I'll start with you.
So here's the thing. For Oregon State, you already are probably not the better team in the situation. And you tack on the fact that Colorado is the best team in the entire league at getting to the line and scoring at the line. So you can't foul. You have to play perfect. It's just tough, man. That is a tall ask of a team. So I got to go with Colorado on this one.
Paul, who you're rolling with in this game?
I totally agree. Oregon State, I stayed up and watched that last night. There's absolutely no way they're that hot again today from the field. Like they were they were throwing up everything and it was going in. I mean, Oregon was cutting into the lead and it was down to I'd say 5. Double teamed. He's falling out of bounds, just throws it up, 3, bang, dagger game. I don't see that at all today. I really don't. Colorado they're really a complete team. I hadn't watched them much this year, but I've watched them the last couple nights, and they are the most complete team out there. I'll say that. I don't know what that gets them in the NCAA tournament. I've seen some 3 seed, some 3 seed talk for them. I don't know if they're that good or not, but I think they handle Oregon State tonight. I think they beat them by an average of 16 points a game. There are 2 meetings, and I don't see that changing tonight.
I mean, when I look at Colorado, so heading into Pac-12 play, they were the 23 ranked team in the country. You factor in the fact that they beat USC. I mean, really, their first win doesn't count because, whatever, it's a bad team, so that's not really going to affect your ranking. But then if they win again today and they beat Oregon State, I think that moves them up to being probably a 4 or 5 seed. Depending on how some of these other conference tournaments play out, obviously. But that's a scary 4 or 5. I mean, when you shoot free throws that well in March, you're not concerned ultimately. Your team can go to the line and they can get back into it, or they can, really seal a game. Whereas you look at some of these other teams that they're shooting 70 or 65% at the line, and you're like, holy man, that game better not get close. Otherwise, they could be heading home pretty early. So,
well, the other thing about the line is that's how you hit your covers right there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So when I picked Colorado to win the Pac-12 tournament, I wasn't confident when I did it, but I'm looking like a real genius if they pull it off here tonight. So fingers crossed that the Buffaloes from Colorado win that one tonight. And then to cap things off of our extended previews of games, we've got the SEC semifinal, first one up today. We've got Alabama versus Tennessee. Alabama just absolutely poured it on yesterday. That game was over in the first 5 minutes, it seemed. Alabama ultimately won that game 85-48. That being said, they hit 13 threes in that game. So the question is, can you do it back-to-back days? Right. Can you have that hot shooting performance once again? Tennessee, one thing to keep an eye on, I haven't seen any news on it yet, is the health of John Fulkerson. He took a nasty elbow yesterday. That should have been a suspension in my mind. It was so clear that Omar Payne was trying to hurt him on that play. He not only hit him in the throat once, he then turned around and threw another vicious elbow. Looked like a better finish than anything I saw at UFC 259. So, I mean, ultimately, it's tough for me because, I mean, I watched Pons play yesterday, and he is an absolute monster when it comes to blocks.
Freak.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
Freak athlete. I'm going to take Tennessee to win today, also because I took Tennessee to win the SEC tournament unconfidently. I just think they were a preseason top 10 team for me. Alabama, the shooting worries me. It's something that's worried me all year. Yes, they make a lot of threes, but you get them on an off shooting night, especially in the NCAA tournament, and what can they throw your way besides just launching it from three? So I'm going to roll with Tennessee here today. Paul, who you got?
I love the way Tennessee just grinds it out. I just, like you said about that Alabama, in this time of year, it's either they're going to hit those 13 threes or they're going to go 3 for 25. And that's kind of been their story the whole year. And they keep creeping back up in these rankings. You know, I think they're like 6th right now, but it's like when I look at them, they're not, I see 4 or 5 teams out in the Big 10, the Big 12 alone, that they could beat them as consistently. You know, if we played week in, week out, they could beat them consistently. So I just like Tennessee in this one. You cannot come out and shoot like you did yesterday, I don't think, 2 days in a row. So give me the Vols.
Yeah, I mean, what impresses me the most about Tennessee when you look at their overall team numbers, they've got 7 guys that average over 8 points per game.
Yeah.
So when you have that balanced of scoring, like they don't have a true alpha, but they also have like so many guys that can beat you that I think it's very tough to defend, and I think that's where Alabama could struggle. Jet, who you got in this one?
I'm actually going to go with Alabama on this one, and the reason being is though they can be inefficient from three, what they've really picked up on the second half of the season is chasing their own shots. The guard play from Alabama is getting so good at getting offensive rebounds. It's very cool because all of these bigs on the other team are so focused on the big guys underneath of Bama. They don't see these little guards sneaking in underneath and snaking another free possession, and they've gotten very good at that. So that's kind of why I'm leaning Bama here.
Josh, who you're rolling with, Bama or Tennessee?
I'm rolling with Bama just because simple. Their offense is just way too good, and I don't think Tennessee's defense is going to be able to handle them. This could be quite a few points in this game, but I have Bama winning and covering.
Yeah, so right now the team total is at 140. I'd be taking the over in that one as well.
Yeah.
I think that I could see both teams going 70 plus in this game, so I would take the over there, but obviously I'll take Tennessee at plus 3.5 there. When we talk about the other SEC semifinal, we've got Arkansas, who is probably the hottest team in the country. They've won 8 straight and 11 of 12. I mean, JD Knott had 27 yesterday versus Missouri. Justin Smith had 16. LSU, I mean, Cameron Thomas and Trendon Watford, they got to have a massive day for them because LSU thinks that they like to play an up-tempo game, but Arkansas really likes to play an up-tempo game. So, I mean, they're going to be playing right into Arkansas's hands. It feels like it's a bad matchup for them. When I looked at the spread, Arkansas's minus 3.5. I'd be taking them to cover that. The 162.5, though, man, that is a lot of points in college basketball. So I think I got to
see it.
I mean, I'd love to see an 88-85 game, but I mean, that's just so many points. If a team has an off half, then you're going to be hitting the under there. Josh, who you got in in Arkansas LSU?
That line, it's one of those lines that like you can't have any sort of defense, you know, like it just has to be point after point after point after bucket after bucket. Like you can't afford any fucking slow play. But I like Arkansas here. I like how they've been playing. Like you said, hottest team probably in the country right now. And their offense is just too good, like way too good. So I like them also today to win and cover.
Yeah, so in their 2 matchups this year, it was 83-75 Arkansas won, and then LSU won 92-76. I don't see a lot of defense being played here today. So if you're just looking for a lot of run and gun, definitely tune into this one. Paul, who have you got?
I like Arkansas. I like Arkansas here to run them out of the gym, honestly. I think they're peaking at the right time. LSU, you know, like you said, they think they know what it's like to run, but Arkansas loves to run. I think that plays right into Arkansas's hands, and I think they blow them out today, 10 plus.
LSU 55th in pace compared to 11th in pace in the country for Arkansas. So that's kind of their go-to. Jet, who you're rolling with?
I think the biggest difference between these two teams is that Arkansas, if needed, can make stops, and I don't know that LSU necessarily can. There's a big discrepancy in defense between these two teams, and that's why I'm going Arkansas.
Yeah, defensive rating, you've got 252nd defensive rating for LSU to 29th defensive rating for Arkansas. So overall, getting stops, I think, is a lot easier for Arkansas. Shout out to Bo at BCMG. Big Arkansas guy, hoping that the Razorbacks are going to find themselves in the SEC final. But that is the major conference games today. We're going to be heading right into the best of the rest pick 'em. This is just going to be a rapid fire segment where we just, let's be honest, we haven't watched many of these teams this year. So we're not going to pretend like we're experts when it comes to Montana State and Eastern Washington. So this segment is sponsored by Thrive Fantasy. Check them out at thrivefantasy.com. Use the promo code BCMG to get up to $50 matched. That's free money, folks. You definitely want to be playing some prop bets there. They got contests. They've got props for halves now as well as full games. So keep an eye out for those. But let's get right into it, starting with the American East Final. M.A. Lowell versus Hartford. Two absolute titans in college basketball. Jet, who you got?
I mean, I guess, I don't know, Hartford. Let's just do that.
Okay, Hartford for Jet. Paul, who you got?
I'm going with Hartford, too.
Josh?
I'm actually going to go with UMass Lowell. I had them edging out a win here. I had the over. The over is not looking good right now, but I like UMass Lowell.
All right, I'm rolling with Hartford, so that's a 3-1. Hartford's going to take that one. Let's move over to the AAC semifinals. We've got Wichita State versus Cincy. Who you got?
Shockers.
Josh?
Yeah, Wichita State for sure.
Yeah, definitely going to go with the Shockers.
Wichita State survived yesterday. That was their chance to get eliminated, so I'm rolling with Wichita State there. Then we've also got Houston versus Memphis. Who you got, Jet?
Houston's going to kill them.
Josh, who you got?
I got Houston as well.
Paul?
So do I, but watch that Memphis team. Watch them.
Yeah, this game was super close just a short while ago, but Houston's -7 today. I think they win, but don't cover. Then we'll move over. We got the A10 final. The semifinals was played a week ago. This is just a really weird conference. So you're rolling with the Bonnies or you're rolling with VCU? Jet?
Bonnies.
Paul?
Bonnies.
We got a sweet pick here, Josh?
I don't know anything about these fucking teams.
I've watched VCU twice. That's why I took St. Bonaventure.
I told everyone to pay attention to St. Bonaventure like 2 months ago, so I gotta stick with it.
Yeah, you did. That's why.
I'll go Bonnies. Yeah.
All right, we're going with a Bonnie sweep pick, so be sure to bet that one today. That is the BCMG guarantee pick of the day. Over VCU. We've watched so much Bonnie's action that we know what we're talking about. You definitely don't want to miss out on this one. We'll head over to the Big Sky Final. Montana State, Eastern Washington. I've been to Montana once. I really liked it, so give me Montana State. Josh, who you got?
I have not been to Montana, so that's why I'm going with Eastern Michigan.
Chet, what about you?
Eastern Washington.
Yeah,
Paul, who you got?
I was going to say Eastern Washington. They have that red football field, right?
I think so.
Yep, that's why I'm going Eastern Washington.
Oh, man. I'm rolling with that Montana State pick. What a lovely state. Let's go with the Big West Final. UC Irvine versus UC Santa Barbara. Josh, who you rolling with?
A lot of UCs here. I'm going to go with UC Santa Barbara.
I think it's a guarantee that UC is going to win this game. Jet, who you got?
Yeah, UC Santa Barbara has a very nice hat in their logo. Give me UC Santa Barbara.
Paul, who you got in this one?
Well, one of them's called the Anteaters, right?
Oh, true.
You never go against the Anteaters.
Damn.
They'll give you the UC Irvine Anteaters.
I've known one barber in my life. I didn't like her, so give me the Anteaters.
Hey, hold on 1 second, guys. Livers is out indefinitely for Michigan. It just
it was a major injury. That foot injury is going to be really tough for them moving forward. But luckily, it's not Dickinson, so hopefully they can recover. Let's head over to Conference USA. We got North Texas versus Western Kentucky. Boy, I wish this was just Texas versus Kentucky, but we got to go with North and West. Josh, who you got?
North Texas has fucked me too many times. I'm going Western Kentucky.
Jet, who you got?
Western KFC.
Western KFC, eh? Paul, who you got?
Give me North Texas. I'll take the mean green.
I'm going Western Kentucky. Shout out to World of College Basketball. Kyle Young is also out for Ohio State today, so an injury on both sides. That's going to be a phenomenal game to watch. I know he'll be tuning into that one. Let's head over to the Mid-American Final. We've got Ohio versus Buffalo. I grew up a half hour from Buffalo, so let me roll with Buffalo on this one. Jet, who you got?
Buffalo's got a great coach. Give me Buffalo.
Who you got? Josh?
Buffalo's got a great offense as well. Give me the Bulls.
Yeah,
Paul, who you got?
I hate going against my Bobcats, but the Buffalo's got this one.
The Buffalo Bulls, real original with the Bills already being there.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Mid-Eastern Atlantic Final. Morgan State versus Norfolk State. This is an early start today for this one. I had a friend named Morgan in high school. Give me Morgan State. Paul, who you got?
Give me Morgan State.
Jet, who you got?
I'm taking Jet Folk State.
Yeah, got to.
You have to. Josh, who are you going with?
I actually dated a Morgan when I was in high school. She was a bitch. Give me Norfolk.
You know what? I'm going to switch my pick. I like Jet more than Morgan, so I'm going Norfolk State on this one.
Good. There you go.
Paul,
this is like literally
sweet pick.
Yeah, we might as well. Hey, we might as well all roll.
Okay, sweet pick. BCMG guarantee. Norfolk State over Morgan State today. Keep an eye out for that one.
The worst part is this is actually how most people pick their brackets. What we're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
When Vic told me that she was going to be doing a bracket this year, she's doing it completely based off logos. So let's see how that one pans out.
My girlfriend Erin did it based off jerseys last year.
There you go. Got to do.
All right. Now we are heading over to the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Final. Iona versus Fairfield. Who you got, Josh?
I'm gonna go with Iona.
Jet, who you got?
Iona W today.
There you go.
Who you got?
Right.
That was bad. Iona, I'm sorry.
Right. This is Rick Pitino's team, right? Iona? Right?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, we got to see him drunk back in the field, right?
I got to roll with Iona because Fairfield's 10-16 on the year. As much as I'd love to take the 9 seed in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, I just can't do it. So another sweet pick. Iona, lock it in. Parlay, BCMG guarantee pick.
There he goes.
We're going to be throwing out this parlay at the end. I'll throw $5 on it just for fun.
Yeah, why
Mountain
not?
West Final. This is actually a good game.
Yeah.
We almost could have talked about it in the major conference ones. So we'll do a little bit more of a breakdown.
Yeah.
Utah State taking on San Diego State in this one. Jet, who do you got?
I like San Diego State. I think they're just a bit more of a complete team.
Yeah, that's fair. Paul, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the Aztecs too. They're seasoned. They've been here before. They know kind of what to expect. They kind of got the rug ripped out of them last year with everything happened. So I think they want to get back. So give me San Diego State.
Josh, who you got?
San Diego State actually looked really good last night against a pretty decent Nevada team. I had them at Nevada winning, actually. But give me San Diego to win this against Utah State.
I will say this much. If you're a team that's right on the bubble, you are praying that San Diego State wins this game. Yeah. Because if Utah State steals this game and wins the conference, San Diego State's taking one of your spots. So give me Utah State just to piss off everyone who's on the bubble. Southwestern Athletic Conference Final. Texas Southern versus Prairie View. This is an easy one for me. I love Glory Road. Texas Southern all the way. Jet, who you going with?
Well, I live in the prairies, so I got to go with Prairie View.
Oh, that's a fair one. Josh, who you got?
I also live in the prairies, and I fucking hate it here. So give me Texas Southern.
Fair.
Paul, who you got?
Like you said, Texas Southern. Got to go with them. Got to go with them all the way here.
That's the second greatest basketball movie of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Phenomenal movie, Glory Road. Southland Conference Final. Abilene Christian versus Nichols. Paul, who you got?
Give me Abilene Christian. You know, anytime there's a Christian involved, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to say
higher powers involved, man.
The higher power is on their side, so that's what we're going to say. And we're going to take
Jet, who you got?
Well, it's not even fair. Tim Tebow's cheering for him, so I got to go Abilene Christian.
Right.
Josh, who you got?
I don't believe in religion. No, I'm just kidding. Give me Abilene Christian as well.
Let's not open up that can of worms on ECMG Live.
Yeah.
I love the movie Semi-Pro, and I know Father Pat would be cheering for Abilene Christian,
Yes,
so give me
would.
Abilene Christian. Let's move over. Last one of the day, Western Athletic Final. This is the one that everyone's tuning into. New Mexico State taking on Grand Canyon. I've always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, never been, so I'm going to compromise by getting to watch them in March. So give me Grand Canyon. Josh, who you got?
Grand Canyon is close to Las Vegas, which is the funnest place on earth. So give me Grand Canyon to win.
Paul, who you got?
I got to go with the Grand Canyon here. I mean, it's the Grand Canyon. It's not like the good canyon.
Not the
Yeah,
medium.
it's not the good,
medium
it's not the
canyon.
great,
The
it's the
Grand
Grand Canyon.
Right.
Jet, who you got in this one?
Yeah, with New Mexico State's pick and roll, they like to drive and they like to play a sound zone defense. No, I'm just fucking with you. Give me Grand Canyon. I have no clue.
No,
Wait, are you telling me that you haven't tuned into New Mexico State this year?
no, but I can't believe it.
No.
I can't believe that the Grand Canyon's in the WAC now. I don't even know that.
Okay, so let's confirm who we have locked in for our parlay here today. I've got Norfolk State, otherwise known as Jet Folk State.
Yeah.
We've got Iona. We've got Abilene Christian.
Yes.
We've got Grand Canyon. Who am I missing?
Let's see.
I couldn't tell you.
Was Buffalo a sweep?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah
you may be right.
Buffalo was a sweep too. Yeah.
Buffalo's a sweep.
Yeah.
Okay. St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, the Bonnies were.
Bonnies, yeah.
Okay. Who else have
The
we got?
Bonnies.
Did we have Houston sweep pick?
Yeah.
Did anyone
yeah,
pick
Houston.
Memphis?
No.
Yeah,
one
I
picked
think
Memphis.
we had Houston to win, but there was a couple guys. I think you and Paul.
Okay, we'll just throw in Houston money line to keep people happy.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, we got Arkansas
Yeah.
as a sweep pick.
Yeah.
Colorado is a sweep pick.
Yeah.
We all took Illinois.
Yes.
We're split. We had Florida State as well.
Yeah.
So when it comes to a parlay today, we are rolling with a 10-team parlay. Throw $1 on it if you like.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon, Abilene Christian, Iona, Norfolk State, Buffalo, St. Bonaventure, Houston, Arkansas, Colorado, Illinois, Florida State. If you guys hit on that parlay, you're welcome, and send us half. So let's do our sign-offs before we get too far into this. Jet, where can the folks find you at home?
You can find me on Twitter at FrostbitePod. We're also on Facebook as well. How can I finish this off? I guess because of my allegiance to Duke and our not being in the tournament, I'm going to have to ride with somebody, and I'm going with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So let's do this thing.
You're taking your talents to Gonzaga. Gotcha. Josh, where can the folks find you at home?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at JoshElliott9, and make sure to Call Your Shot every Thursday's competitive gambling show. And I got competitive video on Twitter, some video plays, gambling stuff, just a bit outside every Friday as well. So catch me there.
Man, you had another great guest pick this week. That guy's a genius.
Yeah.
Paul, where can the folks find you at home?
You can find me at Steel Curtain PEH. You can also find me over at Blue Collar MG. Check it out over there. Make sure you get involved in this March Madness contest. We're giving out 200 free bucks. 2 signups per person. Kenny will go over more of it, but make sure to check out all these guys' work. They've been killing themselves over here for you guys. Make sure everything. Kenny's put out some great articles about the teams in so far. We're going to be on pretty much every day this week, breaking down the brackets for you guys. So just catch us, any of us, anywhere about upsets, whatever. Engage in the tweets, and we'll talk back to you.
Definitely. So you can find me on Twitter at shooters_pod. Going to be dropping a lot of stuff in regards to March Madness. My show is live tomorrow afternoon, actually at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going live early, so that way we can talk NBA as much as I want to talk NCAA. We're going to be doing that all week, along with Blue Collar Media Group. If you go to bluecollarmg.com, we've already broken down 17 teams of the 68 that are ultimately going to be in the field. Jet and I are going to be putting more of those out today as well. So we're going to be breaking down all 68 teams, including those play-in games. So you're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for that. When it comes to Selection Sunday, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be going live. It'll be Jet, myself, not sure who else, but we're going to be talking about the bracket overall, who got in, who's out, and then it's going to be a great breakdown after that. We've got Tuesday night, we're going to be live. We're going to be talking left side of the bracket. Wednesday, we're talking the right side. And then Thursday, we're going to pick the official Blue Collar Media Group bracket. So definitely tune into that. I got to take my talent somewhere as well, given that I'm a Duke fan this year. And due to my confidence in them winning the SEC tournament, I'm a volunteers guy this year. Give me Tennessee as my team that I'm rolling with in March Madness. Can't wait for that opening game upset of Tennessee to break my heart. But be sure to tune into all of our stuff that we've got going on. I'm sorry, guys, that I kept you from that great Hartford MA Lowell game. It's a 23-18 game at the half, so we really missed out on some great offense.
Oliver's looking good.
But in an hour's time, we got Ohio State, Michigan, Tennessee, Alabama. Those games are great, but be sure to tune into Morgan State, Norfolk State if you're looking to watch some basketball. Thanks,
Folks State.
and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Tomorrow.